Human planet requires natural resources for development. The use of natural resources must be a balancing act, as the universe is an insurmountable mass. If we extract something from one place, definitely it will have an impact on other place. We have seen indiscriminate extractions of natural resources from the womb of the Mother Earth for the sake of money, whatever the way it can be, legally, illegally, morally, or immorally in the 20th century. The world for sale, money, power, and the traders who barter the earth's resources exposes in a poignant way the ugly side of making money by extracting the resources. The authors, Javier Blas and Jack Farcy, both professional journalists, presented oil, metals, cobalt, aluminium, nickel, diamond, and grains in this book. Throughout the book, the authors cast a few commodity companies. These are Marquis and Company, Beetle, Philip Brothers, Cargill, Trafigura, Trans World Oil, and of course few characters: Mark Reach, Theodore Wesser, Ian Taylor, Ludwig Jesselson, John S. Macmillan, Louis Dreyfus, and Ivan Glassenberg. These CEOs are truly the Adam Smith's invisible hand, handling most of the earth's resources. They're most powerful than the politicians. The world witnessed the skyrocket profits by them in the 20th century. The interesting thing about the commodity companies and character is that they are not producing or consuming anything. They are just trading earth resources as horny as the hell. They shared common characteristics. For the sake of resources, they can move everywhere in the world. They take risk, remain private, and single-mindedly focused on making money. Meet anyone and do whatever they need. Beyond and within politics, despots, dictators, communists, capitalists, bureaucrats, military generals, business people, it seems that they are here in this universe to sail the world. Another key feature is that silence, secrecy, and privacy are the key to doing business. Mark Rees, the godfather of oil, Ludwig Jesselson, the master of metal, John Macmillan, the king of grains, become the masters of natural resources through their commodity trading houses or industries. Mark Rees, born into a Jewish family, established a pipeline passing the Suez Canal to connect Israel's Eilat and Ashkelon to do oil business in 1968. When in Jamaican government faced money crisis, Mark started their business aluminium for defense and fully controlled Jamaican economy. He was the most powerful oil trader during the 1970s and 80s, having connections with many politicians across the world. By 90s, due to tax evasion and illegal business, he was charged in the United States by federal prosecutor Rudy Giuliani and ordered to be in prison for many years. To escape arrest, Mark Rees took Israeli and Switzerland citizenship, started living in Zug, but Bill Clinton showed him a presidential pardon on the very last day of his office. During the apartheid movement, there was an embargo. But ignoring the embargo, John Davis of Trans World Oil made business with South Africa. He established Oman Oil Company. Taking one after another oil business ventures, he was a high risk taker. However, his entrepreneurship came under question due to his offshore banking in Bermuda, money laundering, tax evasion, and corruption. During the Cuban economic crisis under Fidel Castro, Beetle invested in country's only five-star hotel. To grab Cuban metal, Ian Taylor invested in Cuban sugar, established Beetle Sugar SA. And one of the most interesting information is that the Congolese uranium was used in the Manhattan Atomic Project, Fat Man and Little Boy, bonding friendship with Mobutu and Kabila and giving luxurious concord. Israeli diamond merchant Dan Gertler becomes the gatekeeper of Congo's natural resources, particularly diamond and gold. And for many unlawful deals, he received US sanctions in 2017. Trafigura supplied money to Kurdish warriors taking control of Kirkuk oil fields against Saddam Hussein. Trafigura faced criminal and civil suits for dumping toxic waste in Abidjan. Though they could escape prison term, but count huge amounts of money as fine to the Ivory Coast victims. WikiLeaks published that Chadian President Idris Deby likes Chivas Regal more than democracy, so traders supply everything to them. The grain commodity trader Macmillan founded Cargill in 1865, the richest private business dynasty, and their turnover is more than 100 countries' GDP, operating like a sovereign entity in more than 70 countries with more than 65 billion turnover, selling almost everything we need about food, and gradually become the global agricultural empire. During the time of Zimbabwean economic crisis, Cargill printed Zimbabwean dollars even as a cash. However, Cargill was charged or blamed for great grain robbery, selling American wheat to Russians during the Cold War era, without considering American consumption, which led to huge food inflation in America. And time and again, Cargill was charged for price fixation, deforestation, ecological destruction, exploitation of labor, and so many things. The commodity traders' reckless growth was rampant in 20th century, maybe due to flexibility of regulations, overlooking the environmental destructions, and of course, lack or lack of information. Having their headquarters in Switzerland, Singapore, and Dubai, and due to low taxes, flexible regulations, and political stability, safety, and security, still they are skyrocketing their business in this 21st century as monopoly in the earth resources. Swiss-based Vitol had $297 billion, Glencore had $186 billion, and Glencore Xstrata merger has 36 billion turnover in 2011. The authors, Javier Blas and Jack Farcy, told us their story in a roller coaster way. The whole world is a playground for the commodity conglomerates or commodity CEOs, and particularly in Africa, Middle East, and Latin America. They extracted all kinds of natural resources from Russia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Yemen, Brazil, Equatorial Guinea, Angola, Chad, and DR Congo. The commodity CEOs maintained very close connections with almost all the kleptocratic leaders like Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, Sultan, Slobodan Milosevic, Mobutu, Putin, Kabila, Castro, General Dino, Idris Deby, and so on. No matter whatever the ideology is, no matter at all whoever you are, commodity traders are connected with Iranian ayatollahs, Arab sheikhs, Oman Sultan, Soviet bureaucrats, Latin American generals, only to make more profit, to make them corrupt, and to keep them engaged with one another. Where there were wars, crises, anarchies, anger, hunger, and poverties, they are there to do business, make money in the speed of lightning. Male-dominated white Western commodity trading conglomerates have been facing some challenges due to the rise of China in this sector. The rule-based progress in the economic sector, climate awareness, global information flow, media watchdog, and strict regulations and governance, particularly in the banking sector, slightly slow down their reckless movement. For example, commodity traders lending banks, BNP Paribas was fined 9 billion due to violation of Q1 sanctions. Governor was fined 95 million in Switzerland for bribing. HSBC was fined 1.9 billion for laundering Mexican drug money. Javier Blas and Jack Farcy depicting a glaring example of zero corruptions. In Chile and Japan, where the commodity traders could not corrupt and bribe their people in Japan and Chile. However, They conjures up the world leaders to come up with balancing policy, strict regulations, and openness to monitor the commodity traders for the sake of sustainability of the Mother Earth. The way of Japan is our hope. For all this information and reasons, the world for sale is a compelling read. Thank you very much.